All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST, December the 28th. We are nearing on the end of the year, and that will be this weekend. Yeah, the end of 2023 went by so fast. Yep. So today we're going to talk about ZK rollups. We're going to talk about optimism. Crypto really has seen a pretty big rise in the layer 2 solutions for Ethereum, right? So we had kind of this little bit different of a we'll call it a pre-bull run. Every bull run cycle, it starts before the halving, usually anywhere from 6 to 10 months before the halving. You get kind of a move up at the end of the year before the halving, and then a lot of times you get like this decompression, or I should say a compression, where price just kind of drops down a bit for a while, and then it runs back up towards the end of the halving year, right? Really, it actually kind of tends to run up towards the end of the summer, and then you get the big run up after that. So now not every halving is the same. So, we don't want to rely too much on past data. Another issue, of course, is that there have only been a few halvings, right? So, with that kind of, let's say, sparse data, with the not so much data being apparent for us, we want to make sure we understand that it's, quite possible that this might go differently. There is a famous saying in trading where it's like, oh, well, maybe it'll be different this time, right? And then that's also known kind of his famous last words. But the reality is that when you don't have a whole ton of data, that saying can't apply, right? So we're also going to focus, though, like I said, a little bit on the concept today of ZK rollups. And, Vitalik Buterin is, he has quite a few things to say about it. I'm getting a message from Samantha that I'm echoing. Can somebody else in the private chat besides Samantha confirm that I'm echoing? Got Diane saying I'm echoing, which is really odd. I've got how many people watching? Yeah, 6 people watching in the private chat. If I have an echo, please say so. Hello. Speak up. I know there's like a delay. I just talk for 10 seconds and nobody will respond. We got Ray typing. We'll see what Ray says. See if we got an echo or not. Shouldn't have one. Don't usually have an echo. It's fine on my side. Okay. Perfect. Sound check is good. Diane and Samantha must have something on your end. I'm going to throw a QR code up there. You can kind of see it right here. This is where you can just go to the website. So you zap that QR code, and if you zap that, then you will go to our website. It's pretty simple. algofactory.tech, $49.99. That's a good deal. We're going to get later into what that is. Let's go ahead and start with the charts here, just briefly, and then we'll go into some articles about Vitalik Buterin and what he says about ZKs. In the end, to make it simple, wow, that was gross. In the end, to make it very simple, he thinks that ZKs are going to beat optimistic rollups, okay? So that's just going to shorten up that conversation. We'll take a brief look at, video over. Just kidding. Look at Ethereum. Looks like the Ethereum trade that we put on let me see, we put this on back in 20 December, right? That was when I, pretty much had this trade lined up. Took that first target. Now, to stay in this trade can take some psychological strength. So basically what you're looking at is price going against you in a big way. And that can be really, really hard to stay in a trade. In fact, common practice would be that if it looks like price is going to go against you, to hop out of this trade. That's what that is, the common practice, right? But if somebody stayed in, then they would have gotten out at the top, take profit. Now, another way to look at this chart is that we might be finally seeing the breakout of Ethereum that we expect. And we tend to expect that after Bitcoin has its run, okay? So once Bitcoin has its run, then Ethereum tends to have its run. That's what's happened in the past, but now we're in a little bit different of a landscape. We've got some competitors for Ethereum, right? We've got Solana taking a lot of the energy, if you will, a lot of the limelight from Ethereum. So that might be part of why We are seeing Ethereum lag. We really don't know. I mean, there's really no way to know why this might be the case. It could be as simple as, just it happened this way, but it could have nothing to do with fundamentals. But again, Solana really is booming. And again, anybody who was watching us at Algo Factory, the private group, maybe let's just say several months ago, good morning, Possible, saw that, when it was below 20 bucks, when Solana was below 20 bucks, I went ahead and said, hey, look, Solana's probably going to do really well. FTX, that blew up in a bad way. And unfortunately, it took Solana down with it because FTX is based on Solana, right? And everybody associated the two, but this is actually not legit, right? Because Solana was unaffected. It just was an association. The actual fundamentals for Solana remain unchanged, right? And so basically, I was telling people like, this is really undervalued. This is probably going to go up a lot. People are going to realize that FTX and Solana are two different things, and people are going to buy Solana, and that's just the way it's going to go. And clearly that's how it went, because now we have a lot of meme coins being released on Solana, right? So because of that, we're seeing Solana just really, really rip up, and it's been ripping up for weeks. And I think it might be kind of taking a break. Let's just overlay Solana on this Ethereum chart. Okay. Yeah, you see Solana ripped up, and it ripped up with, like, Ethereum actually kind of seemed to outperform it a little bit, at least on a scale. It did. Solana has just been, gaining so much, going from, 20 bucks to 120. I mean, it's times 5. Ethereum hasn't done that kind of multiplication, but from a trend aspect, Ethereum's kind of kept up, and then Solana started ripping back in early, a couple weeks ago, 21 December, so actually about 1 week ago. Really, it started ripping a few days before that, but everything was ripping. But then Solana took over right before Christmas, and now it is contracting while Ethereum is expanding. So there is a bit of a divergence between Solana and Ethereum, right? Let me take off this trade. We won the trade. That's great. Yay, taking it off. So that's why, we're seeing a bit of a divergence. Now, I don't know if this is because of each other. I don't know if what I'm about to say is true, but there's a decent chance that a lot of the money that was going towards Solana is now going towards Ethereum. The Solana, what's that term? Exuberance is the Solana exuberance is actually maybe wearing off, and money is going back to where it normally would go at this time, which is Ethereum. That's a theory. That's an Ethereum theory. E-theory. I know it's cute. It's terrible. Sorry. I like puns. I shouldn't. So anyway, now Ethereum is, for those who are new to crypto, right? Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys and gals can see the numbers on here, okay? Ethereum is kind of like the original, let's just say, the railroad tracks on which the train of the alt market was built, right? So Ethereum is a protocol where you can use the ERC20 blockchain to build altcoins, okay? And so I would say the vast majority, I don't know for sure anymore, but I know for a while the vast majority of altcoins were built on the ERC20 chain, right? ERC20 coins, which is basically Ethereum, right? So a few things changed. Ethereum went away from proof of work to proof of stake, which, okay, you might like that, you might not, but that's what it's done, right? So, all the Ethereum people are saying that it's good, especially, those who are pretty big holders. They like it. That's fine. There's a whole narrative right now of saving energy, and that's good. But, this is what has happened. There are some who think that perhaps security was compromised for that, but protocols are protocols, security is security. Bitcoin still, I think, I don't know if it's the king of security at this point, but I mean, look, it's decentralized, it's proof of work. I like that personally, but the price right now is what we're going to pay attention to, not that part of the theory. Probably a different part of the theory. We're going to look at making Ethereum scalable. That's the main talk today. But just looking at the price, that's what that is. Okay, so back to the kind of little brief history of Ethereum. I'm not going to really go too deep into it. I'm certainly not an expert. I'm just going to give an overview, right? So Ethereum had scalability issues. I actually was making a fair amount of money. In fact, my my start in crypto and where I actually made a fair amount of money was called spread arbitrage. And I'm not going to explain that too deeply, but it did require a lot of like faster transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. And in late 2017, there was an issue with that because of crypto kitties, right? So crypto kitties came along and they really slowed things down on the Ethereum blockchain. It was the first NFT, you could say. You know, I've heard it said that it's the first NFT. So, you know, long story short, though, spread arbitrage does not work when you have like really bad transaction times. Like it's just no bueno. So that was something that caused me to have to go back into like regular trading. So I started with regular trading and then I went to spread arbitrage on the Ether Delta exchange, right? But once CryptoKitties gummed up the network, that was a problem. Well, it also created a problem for a lot of other people, right? Anytime you do an Ethereum exchange of any kind, anytime you do a spend, it's going to cost you a lot of gas. The fees get really, really high because you're basically competing with everybody else. And high fees means low throughput, and it just becomes not something you're going to want to use, and Ethereum starts to fall apart. So then came the scalability conversation, right? And scalability was the big talk. And I think there was, what was it called? Metropolis? I think it was Metropolis. They implemented Metropolis, which was supposed to, you know, make like some kind of a difference in speed. I don't remember it making a big difference in speed at all, but I remember that was implemented late 2017. Maybe it was even late 2016. I forget. No. It was, I think it was 17. Anyway, the point is that roll-ups are the conversation, right? So roll-ups are basically when you take an Ethereum transaction and a whole batch of them, and then you take it to like a side chain, and then you do all of the like information and math over there in a compressed fashion so that you can put through a bunch of transactions as a batch. And then once they are put through via the sidechain, they're put back on the Ethereum network, right? So it kind of circumvents all of the slowness of the Ethereum network. That's a very, very simplistic and probably semi-correct at best explanation of rollups, right? So we're actually going to go and take a look at some of the articles, and we're going to compare ZK rollups to optimistic rollups, because optimism is another chart we're going to look at here shortly. Okay, so we're going to look at Ethereum, we're going to look at optimism, but Vitalik does, and this article, by the way, goes way back. This is August of 2022. We have more recent articles we are going to cover, okay? But this article in particular is an early prediction by Vitalik, right? So you got ZK rollups and optimistic rollups. And I do have some graphics and things that are going to help to explain this, but just to get very simple explanation. So I'm going to read right from the article here, and this is on, what do we have? Coin Culture. The most extensively used layer 2 techniques for scaling Ethereum using off-chain compute while maintaining the security of leading blockchain are optimistic and ZK rollups. However, there are variances in the design of these systems and the level of protection they provide, right? So remember, anytime you're taking a transaction off-chain, you're going to lose some security. It's just pretty much how that goes. My understanding, and we're going to confirm this or unconfirm it in the next like maybe several minutes, but my understanding is that ZK rollups are actually more secure. That might not be correct, okay? But what he says, Vitalik, is in his opinion, according to this article, back to quoting the article now, ZK rollups would eventually surpass optimistic rollups because they have these real benefits, like not needing a 7-day withdrawal period. He predicted that rollups would be all ZK in 10 years, if not less. So he is kind of putting Ethereum on a higher time frame for scalability, meaning that it might take a while. But let's remember that the Ethereum Foundation has some very, 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 very important people involved in it. So there is going to be this kind of vulnerability period for Ethereum while like Solana and some other much faster chains come in and kick butt. But then again, if you have first mover advantage, you don't have to have the best coin. You just have to have the right people, right? And you have to have enough people using it, called the network effect. So in the meantime, you have Optimism and ZK and things like Polygon, and you just have a lot of these layer 2 solutions, right? So look, there's layer 1, there's layer 2. Let's make that real simple. So layer 1 solution is where the scalability is fixed directly with the Ethereum blockchain, right? It doesn't mean, exactly. I'm not going to get too far into that. First of all, I'm not an expert, but second of all, I don't want to confuse anybody. Now, there's layer 2 solutions like Polygon, things like that actually take it off chain, right? So here we have, while ZK rollups are quicker, they lack an Ethereum virtual machine, making it. Let me zoom this in. People can read it. I thought I'd had it zoomed in. Sorry, folks. While ZK rollups are quicker, they lack an Ethereum virtual machine, making it challenging to operate decentralized applications such as DeFi protocols. The EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, is the Ethereum blockchain's primary processing unit for decentralized applications. This may change shortly as EVM compatibility for ZK rollups is being developed. Layer 2 projections such as Scroll, EKZync, and Polygon have announced intentions to deploy the ZK EVM computing environment, allowing ZK rollups to operate all forms of general-purpose smart contracts independently. We've seen ZK EVM implementations almost ready to scale with Ethereum transactions. Now, this article goes way back to 2022, so we got some more recent information here. We're going to focus a little on optimistic rollups because optimism has just been going off on the charts. Okay, so optimistic rollups, ORs, are layer 2 protocols designed to increase the throughput of Ethereum. They reduce computation load on the main Ethereum chain by taking computation and state storage off chain and processing transactions in batches. That is written terribly. Who wrote this? There are a few different scaling solutions. I'm going to blame the people who wrote it, not my stuttering. Okay. So it probably was me, but I'm just going to be a jerk and blame the people who wrote it. Mantle, I'm blaming you for my failure. There are a few different scaling solutions currently in use by various projects, such as sidechains, independent blockchains that are linked to a main chain, but maintain block data separately and use their own consensus models like Polygon, or plasma chains, analogous to child chains that also maintain their own block data validation process, except they're non-custodial in nature from the perspective of assets, which means users can exit with their funds in case of an anomaly. So with side chains, the funds are stuck on the side chain due to an anomaly. Although I'm sure that with like Polygon and all that, there are solutions for that. Unlike the solutions stated above, ORs, optimistic rollups, derive security from the Ethereum mainnet by publishing transaction results on chain. Okay, ORs are considered optimistic, quote unquote, because they assume off-chain transactions are valid and don't publish proofs of validity for transaction batches posted on-chain. But how do they detect and deal with invalid states then? This is where fraud proofs come in. Okay. Network actors submit fraud proofs if they spot invalid transactions. Smart contracts on the Ethereum mainnet then execute individual transactions or an entire block if necessary to check their validity. If confirmed to be invalid, the batch submitter, who is aka the sequencer, gets their stake deposited as a bond at the time of batch submission slashed. So their stake gets slashed, setting a disincentive in place to discourage invalid submissions. So basically, it looks like if I'm reading this properly, then an invalid submission is reverted back to the original blockchain, and the person who submitted that gets hit pretty hard, for submitting an invalid transaction. So that's a disincentive. I think it's a great solution. Optimism is doing really well on the charts. We're going to go take a look at Optimism right now. Wow. PTIMISM. Like you move your hand like one one key over and you type terribly. So yeah, Optimism's been killing it. We're looking at the daily chart here. So it is taking a break. Looks to me like we could even look at this as a possible Elliott wave. We haven't talked much about Elliott waves. I don't tend to trade them, but I think they are a decent framework. I know a lot of people who make a lot of money with Elliott waves. So, let's be real. It's not a bad thing. So now it does look like my version of an Elliott wave would be invalidated because this 4 point has gone below the 1. So, I can't in good conscience say that this is an Elliott wave. Okay, so we'll forget that. Maybe I'll do a whole show on Elliott waves so everybody can see what I'm talking about. But look, this is a massive move up starting on 19 December of 2023. It went from $2 up to basically $4. It's doubled in the space of like 2 weeks. And that's beautiful, man. And if you want to take it back to, there was that low point when everything dumped and it was down below $1. So now you're up like times 4 over that. But the lower point where price kind of stayed for a while there recently was in October, and that was at about $1.15. So $1.15 to, you know, all the way up to past $4. Still, it's pretty close to a times 4, like times 3.5 or something. So it's a beautiful, beautiful move up. Algorithmically, and again, I'm going to cross everybody's eyes for a moment, so forgive the chart. That's just a lot of gobbledygook, and I know how to read it because I've been doing this a long time, and it's basically like this. I'm going to reset this. Hold on a second. All that gobbledygook you see in the screen, those are a bunch of indicators. When you stack indicators, you build an algorithm. That's just how that works. That's what building an algo is, essentially, right? So wow, this thing has really gone sideways. I'm going to zoom out just a bit here. Okay. And what do we have here? Why is this like this? There's something going on with my charts here. Reload. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I've got some kind of funky indicator. Okay. Yeah, something funky going on with my chart. Had some glitches a little bit with TradingView lately. Oh, I know what it is. This is not a TradingView problem. This is a Cowboy problem. Okay, fixed it. I did have an issue with TradingView that got resolved within a few hours. So they were really responsive and fixed it, and that's good. Yeah, so optimism just bullish in the high time frame. It's taken a break, but just to look at the algo, I would say right now, if I were to predict what might happen with optimism, and a lot of that's going to depend on the Bitcoin market. So far, it has survived a Head and Shoulders, which is rather bullish because Head and Shoulders are a pretty high probability of heading down as a reversal. Like in my, for most cryptos, isn't above 80%. And it, completed a Head and Shoulders and went ahead and popped back up. So it's really pushing, but it could also be that the energy here is kind of dispersing. It might be just for the short term, but if crypto continues to be strong, if we don't see Bitcoin really take a hard hit, if Bitcoin hangs out where it is, it wouldn't surprise me to see this just kind of take a break and not go much lower than say 20. Oh, this is Ethereum. Okay, sorry folks. That's good. It's good to know Ethereum, but let's look at optimism. When I reset the chart, it gave me Ethereum. Okay. To optimism, let's remove the drawings. We're on a 30-minute chart. Let's go to a higher time frame. I fixed this earlier, man. I don't know why this is like this, where my time frames are all cattywampus. It's a great word, right? Cattywampus. Don't we love that word? Okay, let's just... Okay, bullish, bullish, bullish. Yeah, I think this is going to at least maintain its wins until Bitcoin has a problem. I don't expect optimism to take too hard of a hit. The most recent move up, just for kind of a short-term look, if this is truly FOMOing, if it is, it could come up from here because basically we have a bounce off the 382. And if it continues upward, optimism could actually hit maybe up to 450, maybe up to 490, right? That's if it continues up. It may kind of stall out where it is for a minute. It may consolidate. And if it consolidates, then that's great because I have a pretty good method of trading, a consolidation once it breaks out. And that could easily go, that could go for days, weeks, minutes. We don't know. I think it would need to go for more days in order to become a consolidation on this 3-hour time frame. I don't think minutes makes any sense, but I will take a look here at what could happen if this continues to be incredibly bullish. If optimism is optimistic, we're going to take an optimistic look at optimism. Okay, so it's already hit the 272 extension from this. I'm mapping out this impulse, right? Now this is an impulse with a pullback. That's fine. higher time frame is just going to show us an impulse, right? So, yeah, 490 again. That's you're looking at 490 as a pretty likely place for price to go, as long as things remain bullish. But the path to get there might not be as quick as we saw here. It really depends on the entire market. And if the entire market is like super bullish, then we'll see it. How long will the layer 2 wave go, right? That's the question. As Polygon has done great. Obviously Optimism has done great. So it's just a question of how long money keeps flowing to layer 2s, right? Kind of seems like we had like ordinals did great for a while, which is basically like Bitcoin, like Bitcoin chains, if you will, on-chain Bitcoin apps. So ordinals did well for a while, and then it kind of went to memes for a while, which is a little backwards. Usually it's after Bitcoin runs in the past, it tends to be Ethereum that does well. And then it kind of goes like from Ethereum to big caps. And when I say big caps, I'm talking about crypto large caps, right? So Ethereum to crypto large caps to, hold on, I got to take a trade. Give me a second. I'm going to take a quick trade on Euro. Should have done this earlier. Dude, I missed it. Isn't that a bummer? I missed the trade. The question is this ready? We're going to take a break from our discussion to possibly take a Euro trade. The Euro has just been mobbing up like unstoppable, but it is starting to show a little tiredness. But I think I missed this move down is nasty. I saw this happening. I even had an alert, and I just got so into talking about things that I missed the trade. And I was even, as you can see, in a trade with those lines, and I exited just because every single short I've taken has gotten jacked on the way up here. So I guess I'll just have to not take this trade because I've lost on my R. That's what I do for you people. That's what I do for you here. I miss trades just so I can teach you all about internet money that doesn't exist, but it kind of does. All right, so let's go back to Optimism. All right. So yeah. So money went, usually it goes to, like I said before, it'll go from Bitcoin and then usually to Ethereum, and then it'll go to like the large caps like ADA and, other coins, maybe Ripple, something like that. And then it goes to like mid caps. But this year it kind of seemed to go from Bitcoin to ordinals and a lot of money towards memes. And then we saw like money go after that to right now it's like layer 2s, right? And then Ethereum seems to be catching up. So a little bit different of an order from pump to pump to pump. Bitcoin itself does need to stay strong for this to continue and go up to 490. That's what I see for Optimism from a price charting standpoint. And just to look at Bitcoin, it is showing. It's showing some weakness. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to fall necessarily. I mean, we don't know the future, right? But from an algorithmic standpoint, let me zoom back in just a hair so everybody can see a little bit better. Let's take a look at some higher time frame stuff. Yeah, seen a little weakness. Look, Bitcoin could just mob up, but right now I think actually Bitcoin may take a little break. We'll see. I'll put it this way. Let's go to daily. We're seeing a consolidation on the daily, and that consolidation is forming up pretty well. We're starting to get a range more or less, and the range is tightening. So one could look at this as kind of a bullish scenario because you're getting higher lows, right? You are getting higher lows. So anytime you get higher lows, two ways to look at that. You can look at this as higher lows with the same highs, and that's bullish. But this could also be looked at as wedging up, which is actually a little bit bearish. But that's a weird, it's a nasty looking wedge. I don't know. This is all kind of ugly. So I'm just going to look at this as a consolidation. And then once it pops out of the consolidation, we have some tools for that. There's an indicator on the very bottom of the screen that everybody in Algo Factory knows what this indicator is that I'm about to explode, but it doesn't say the name of it. If you want to know the name, come to algofactory.tech. We'll flash you a QR code in a few minutes. And and we're actually getting to the end of the free version. But I do think that Bitcoin is going to exit this. It will certainly exit that consolidation. The question is, what direction will it take when it does? If I had to bet right now, gun to my head, which way is Bitcoin going to go, I would say down. But here's the thing about it. It doesn't mean it'll drag the whole crypto market with it, right? So, I'm going to spend a little more time in the free show today so we can talk more about optimism. So we're going to go a little bit longer than we usually do, and that's fine. So, Bitcoin could simply just go down to this like 36,000 level or 38,000 level. Bitcoin could find equilibrium. I think a really good place for Bitcoin to find equilibrium, though, is going to be like around the $30,000 level. That's very, very likely. A lot of price action happened there. It's very possible that we could see a retrace down to that 30 right now. It's just, and it might not go any higher. It might. Bitcoin is known. Like, let's just say that, like, I knew the future, and that'd be nice. I'd be rich. But let's just say I knew that Bitcoin was going to head down to, like, say 30, around there, right? Let's say, yeah, it's going to happen for sure. There's a good chance it'll reach up and grab some liquidity up here, and it could go as high as like low 50s. Very, very possible. It would happen very quickly. And this is a scenario. I'm not saying that's exactly how it would happen. I'm not saying it'll happen at all. I'm saying it's very possible that Bitcoin could reach up, grab liquidity, and go down, and it will get a lot of moon boys to jump in and say, oh, I'm going to buy it. It's going to go up to $1 million, and get all the greedy people to buy in at the top and create exit liquidity for all the smart money and then head down. Very, very likely scenario. And we will take a brief look before we go back into our ZK rollup conversation. We'll take a brief look at the Kingfisher.io, the link for Kingfisher. There's a referral link in the description of the video. Okay. So you can use that referral link. You get a discount. This is a wonderful application. I don't talk to them. They don't pay me to say this, although a referral code, of course, will give me some things. Let's see here. So liquidity right now is sitting at, like, the nearest liquidity really is sitting at 42.5. So basically a small little jaunt downwards, right? But there is some decent liquidity right here from 43.7 to 44.3. So 43.7 to 44.3. There is liquidity right up in, like, I'm going to zoom in on this. So 43.7 to 44.3. So that little square, there's liquidity there right now. So even if price were to exit this consolidation, I would actually have this consolidation like this. Now that I'm looking at the numbers, and yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, look, this could tighten up. I mean, it seems to already have tightened, but then again, this could be just complex pullback on the way down. So it might be that when it pulls up, it only goes to the top of this consolidation. Sorry about that, little frog in the throat, and then might head down after that. But if we look at the liquidity map, we will see that there is liquidity up in the low 50s all the way up to like 60,000. There aren't any big spikes of it like you see down here, but there's liquidity. Like if the market wanted to move up, there's plenty of liquidity for Bitcoin to grab to support that. But for the moment, we're going to take it level by level, and we're only going to look at this consolidation. And that I'm expecting for a breakout of that consolidation. And if it were to break out anytime soon, I believe that would be a downward move. So this might be what, like, we're going to see. This, what I just drew, is quite possible for us to see this like over the next few weeks. It could just go straight down. It doesn't have to come up and grab this, right? It's likely to. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. And as long, and this is just my opinion here, so no real way to know this, but all this price action down here creates what's called order blocks, right? And according to the Kingfisher, there's a lot of liquidity in that area and a huge block of liquidity down right at 30,000, right at 30. Biggest spike in the map is right at 30. And you have a lot of it sitting at like 33.8. And you have a nice one sitting at 37.5. So you got 37.5, 33.8, and then one like basically right at 30. So let's just do 37.5, 33.8, and then right at 30. Those three levels, if price really begins to break down, those are the levels that price will be attracted to. And then if I guarantee you, if I did some other analysis, that would more or less kind of confer with these numbers. Not confer, but corroborate this data right here. So that is Bitcoin. And I think as long as Bitcoin, look, all these other coins, Optimism, Ethereum, if this goes down really hard and fast, which Bitcoin tends to do after it's been up for a while, it tends to ride the elevator up and jump off the building, then a lot of things might take a little bit of a hit if it goes fast. But if it kind of in a very orderly fashion goes down, or if it goes down and then stays in a given area, then a lot of coins will probably do really well. And we'll have ourselves another bit of an alt party. That we've already been having one, but we might have another one. So that's what I'm looking at for that. So we're going to go briefly back to finish our conversation about Vitalik and ZK rollups. We talked about optimistic rollups. We defined those. So, and optimism, of course, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but there's been and this is way back in December 22, there's just been a lot of activity in optimism, right? So, this is going up to December 23, 2023, and this is this is just your optimism price, right? But you get a lot of new addresses on the optimism layer 2. So it seems to me that ZKs are taking a while. So your optimism and other layer 2s are going to be looked at as the solution for Ethereum until the ZKs happen. But if you listen to Vitalik, then ZKs are kind of what's going to go on. Okay. And again, the merge seems to have really, pushed things, right? So it's earlier this year. This article is back in February 2023. You have Optimism and some other coins. Matic, again, these are all the layer 2s. Arbitrum. So these are all what have been, doing really well lately. Okay. So Ethereum layer 2s are where it's at. Now the question is that going to continue that way, right? And one thing to understand is that, again, Vitalik, who is a smart dude, he's a little weird, certainly, little different, little weird. He says some things I'm like, dude, really? Did you just say that, bro? But Vitalik does have a better look at the ZK rollups. So if you look here at vitalik.eth.limo, he does a very technical look at ZK rollups. And to make it really, I'm not going to get into that. First of all, it's not beyond me, but I'm not going to study that for 2 hours while you all watch. If you really want me to study that, I'll take a vote and you all can say, hey, study that, and maybe I'll do it. But here you got two kinds of rollups. You got optimistic rollups, which use fraud proofs. We just talked about that. We described the fraud proofs. So basically, if there is an invalid transaction, then everything is taken back out and given back to everybody basically. And then whoever submitted the fraudulent transaction gets punished, right? But then you got ZK rollups, which use what are called validity proofs. Every batch includes a cryptographic proof called a ZK snark using the Plonk protocol, which proves that the post-state root is the correct result of executing the batch. No matter how large the computation, the proof can be very quickly verified on-chain. Okay, so that's why ZKs are special. And if you look at the results, fixed gas costs per batch, you got a lightweight transaction, mainly just changes the value of the state root at 40,000, right? So this is fixed gas costs per batch. Verification of ZK snark is quite computationally intensive, probably because it's more or less on chain. And you got, it's cost about, what is that? 4 into 50, I don't know, a little over 10 times, 12 times as much. Withdrawal period is very fast though. So the withdrawals are actually going to be 1 week on the optimistic rollups and very fast on the ZKs. That's huge, right? ZKs are complex from a technology standpoint, which is probably why they're very fast, and probably why the development has taken a long time. It is what generalizability. I don't even know what that means. Let me see here. Proving general purpose EVM execution. Well, I mean, harder, yeah, but if it's made right, it doesn't matter how hard it is, it'll work. Per transaction, on-chain gas costs. Lower per transaction for on-chain gas costs, right? So per transaction. So I'm imagining that these, for the actual batch, is just a much larger batch. That's why ZKs are a lot per batch, but per transaction is lower, and that's key. That's what's going to matter. Of course, your layer 2, your optimism types, I'm sure it's lower than a regular Ethereum. It's an improvement, and it's probably going to come out sooner, and it's going to be faster, and it's going to be an improvement. But ZKs, once done, are actually going to have a lower cost. It's going to be much faster, and I think it's going to have more security because it's much closer to the Ethereum blockchain. And of course, off-chain computational costs lower and higher. But again, if your tech is good, that shouldn't matter. In general, my own view, and this is from Vitalik, I believe here. My own view is that in the short term, optimistic rollups are likely to win out for general purpose EVM computation, and ZK rollups are likely to win out for simple payments, exchange, or other application specific use cases. But in the medium to long term, ZK rollups will win out all use cases as ZK Snark tech improves. Okay, so that's the meat of it all right here. So I'd say long-term bet on ZKs, but as I kind of said not 2-3 minutes ago, optimism and those kind of rollups are going to kind of come out first, right? They're gonna be available first. They're easier to develop, and we'll see how it goes. All right, look. Thank you all for sticking with me. We went about 10-11 minutes over on the free to the public YouTube and on X. So again, I'm going to throw up the QR code here. Let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen really quick. And we do this 5 days a week, just so you understand. Like, we do this, and if you come on here and you really want to know what's going on, we will answer your questions. Now, this YouTube is going to get a lot bigger, right? We've not really been advertising or pushing or anything like that. There will be a marketing push. This YouTube is going to have a lot more people, and at some point, to have your questions answered is going to require super chats, just because we will not be able to get to everybody. But let me tell you this, while we can get to everybody, I will answer your questions for free. So you don't have to worry about super chats. You don't have to worry about anything. But what I would ask you to do is to like, subscribe, do those things, hit the notification bell. And if you watch my video, and then ask questions. I'll be happy to chart for you, all that stuff. We only do it for 30 minutes. And also, during even that 30 minutes, our members who are part of Algo Factory, who are our actual members, they have priority. So their questions get answered first. But if their questions are answered, you can come on here for free, and I will do that for you. I'll do charting. I'll answer whatever questions I know, within my knowledge sphere. So thank you for watching, and we will catch you all tomorrow. Wait, is today Thursday? I think today's Thursday. Holy crap, time flies. I'll probably work tomorrow. I'm going to talk to my guys today. I'm going to take a vote for my members and see if they want me to take a day off or not. So we'll either see you tomorrow or not. Peace.